This is Canada Reads American Style, featuring two friends who love Canada Reads and Canadian literature. Welcome our host Rebecca from Michigan and Tara from Ontario.
Welcome to Canada Reads American Style. This is Tara. Rebecca is here with me. Hello, Rebecca.
Hello.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New
Year. We are here today. We are going to say goodbye to our year of reading, of 2024 reading, and welcoming a new year of reading, which I find so exciting. Like, I get really excited in December. I'm just reading. I read it every month, every year. It's reading, but I'm like, it's a new year of reading, and I get so excited. So we are here to, let's just discuss our past reading goals for 2024, how we did with them, and then we're looking onwards to 2025.
I love it. Yep. Closing one chapter, haha, and opening a new one.
Yes. Beautiful. I love that. I love that. I know it's not like,
I know.
But I'm like, I wish I'd thought of that. Good. Okay, so I'm going to start by looking back at my 2024 goals and update you on how I did.
Okay.
So my first one was reading the Giller long list for 2023. That they release in October of 2024. I've been doing this one for years. I've lost track of how many years I started doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I did not do well this year.
Oh,
with it.
Okay.
No. And I mean, which is not unusual this time. Oh, actually, no, that's not true. Okay, I'm going to take that back.
Mm-hmm.
Let me start over, people. I'm getting confused in my years. The Giller long list for 2023, yes. Tick it off. I did it. I can't remember. I maybe had one or two DNFs, but as a whole, I'm going to say, yes, I finished it. And then what I was referring to just now that confused me, I'm going to come back to that in my 2025 reading goals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so sorry if I made that was confusing. The Giller long list for 2023, that was one of my goals, and I'm going to check it off as done.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so sorry about that. My other one, now this would have been the second year that I was doing this, which was reading through the Agatha Christie catalog. In 23, right? Yeah, 23. I'd read 8 Agatha Christie books. Mm-hmm. This past year, I read 4, which I'm still happy with. It's much less. It's half. But I think that's due to my third reading goal that I had in 2024, which was reading the backlist of Helen Humphreys books. Mm-hmm. So I read 5 of Helen's books in 2024.
I thought you read more than that. That's so wild.
Yeah. Because I think in my head at the beginning of the year, I thought I'll read one Agatha Christie a month and one Helen Humphreys. But there's just too many books. So I think that I almost end up at times alternating each month reading one of their books. And there were couple of months that I didn't get to read either of them in that month and stuff like this. So my progress is less than I had been hoping at the beginning of the year. But it's still progress. So I'm ticking them off as like, good on me. Way to go, Tara. I read some. Yeah.
I'm really surprised. It's so funny because I feel like, and this is I'm saying this in a good way. It felt like you talked about Helen Humphreys every month, but apparently you kind of weren't. But it felt like you were. And if you had made me guess how many you read, I would have said like 10 or 11. Isn't that wild?
I know. Yeah. But I think even like having read 5, like she is my my most read book or author of 2024. Cause you get that all your data on Storygraph. Yeah. So having read, I don't think I've ever read 5 books by a single author in 1 year. Mm-hmm. So it's still a high number, but yes, same thing. I would have thought, by how often I've talked about her, I would have thought higher as well. But 5.
And can I'll wait until you get to your 2025 goals, because then I'll say something. I'm going to make a note to myself so I don't forget to bring it up.
Do that. Okay. And how did you do with your 2024 goals?
Okay, so I had 4 goals. I had to go back and listen to our other podcast because I threw some mini goals in there of different things, but and I accomplished those, and I won't talk about those, but, uh, one of them was to read Brothers Grimm because I have a collection of the Brother Grimm's tales, and I because I had started doing some other things, reading like Mary Oliver poetry and all that. I did a bunch of other little mini
Yeah.
challenges. I think I read the first 3 and then I stopped and just let it go for the whole year. So there's that. And then I did read Project 562, Changing the Way We See Native America by Matika Wilbur, which I've talked about ad nauseum, but I love that book and I accomplished it. I think I finished it like in August because every day I would read one or more of the profiles of Native Americans and their great triumphs and challenges in their lives. And it's a pictorial kind of coffee table book. It's fabulous. So I finished that. I also had this one, which was an inclusive picture book challenge, which had a bunch of categories about reading, diverse children's picture books. And I just want to mention that I actually got, I think I read 6 and then I stopped because I will just say that I think it's interesting when somebody with a big following creates a challenge, but then doesn't follow through with it because I read 6 and I used the hashtag and I had no acknowledgement that I was doing the challenge. And it's not about likes and all the stuff. I don't care about that. I just felt if like I thought to myself, oh, she must have a lot of people doing it. Well, then when I looked at the hashtag, there weren't that many people doing it. So I thought, so she couldn't even acknowledge like anybody doing it because I kind of looked into it. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to continue to read my picture books I did all year. I loved them. They were great. But I just sort of lost my interest in that challenge because I felt like if you want us to participate, then you know what I mean? I just sort of felt a little pissy about it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I just sort of thought, I don't think I will follow that person's challenges. Like, I don't think I great account. I love the account, but the challenges, I think I'm going to let them go in the future. So that's
Well,
that.
I think when you put a challenge like that out on social media, you do it because you're trying to foster a community and a
Exactly.
community. And so that then the people who are wanting to participate in that challenge expect the same thing. You're expecting to find a community and interaction and debate, conversation. So when you don't get that, or when
Hmm.
you doesn't follow through on that part of it.
That's okay. You said it way better than I could have. And that's exactly how I felt because I have a friend who is a youth librarian. I have a couple of friends who are youth librarians, and I wanted them to be aware of it because I thought, hey, these are going to be some great, recommendations for you working in a diverse community, which they do. And when I went to the hashtag and there was kind of nothing there except for mine, I thought, okay. And I made sure I was doing the right hashtag. Like I made sure I didn't make a mistake.
Yeah.
But I thought, yeah, where's the community? And I couldn't even forward or share what I was getting out of it with my friends who are active youth librarians in a diverse community. So
Yeah.
anyway, so there's that. Yeah. And then of course my last goal, which everybody is probably sick of, but I had 12 classic women authors. I did complete it. I loved it. I loved the authors. I'm going to go back and read many of these women again. It was just a really fun challenge for myself, and it reminded me of why classic literature is classic. So there you go.
Good. Like I feel like you did really well with your goals. Awesome. Okay, claps, applause for us for 2024 because I had a great
I'm
reading year.
clapping so you can hear.
Yeah,
Yay, we did. We had a great
yeah,
24.
yeah. And I love reliving. So I know I have like my goals and that which shaped my reading year. But I didn't realize until you started talking about your brother Grimm challenge that you had that your reading goals also are part of my reading year in some weird because I hear about them like because you and I not only through the podcast but we share frequent messages about what we're reading and stuff so that your reading becomes part of my reading year, which
Yeah,
I love because I was like,
that's
oh
true.
yeah, yeah, it's super fun.
I know. It's like I said, when you read, it's so funny when you talk about reading Helen Humphreys or Agatha Christie. I know those are your goals, and I'm like, I'm there with you because you
Yeah,
are accomplishing your goals. So I just love that. You're right. That's
yeah,
so cool.
yeah.
So we have double the
We have
goals
double.
in a way.
We do.
I love
So,
that.
like, double applause and whatever for us.
Woohoo.
We are amazing. Okay, 2025.
Woohoo. Yes.
Let's go. Do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
I'll let you
Okay.
go first. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going, my first one, which I alluded to when I talked about my 2024 goals. So for several years, the Giller long list has been one of my goals to read through the long list they announced their short list in October, or sorry, their long list in October. And I then take those few months. I think the winner is announced in November.
Mhm.
I don't care. I don't care if I read them all before the winner's announced. That's never been one of my goals. I just take the next following calendar year to work my way through the long list. And I've been doing that for several years. And one of the main reasons I had started doing it is that as a mother of young children, I had lost my connection with Canadian literature. And this gave me a good way of keeping in touch with Canadian authors and literature the world that I'd lost touch with.
Mhm.
So, but in the last year, I've come to realize, well, one, there's like a ongoing debate surrounding the Giller. I'll let you Google it and you can see for yourself what's been going on. But I've also lost interest in some of the authors. Like there's several authors that keep getting nominated or long listed and short listed that I don't like their books. I read them once because they due to the long list being nominated, but I'm like, if I see them on the long list, I don't read them because I'm not interested, but they keep getting
Mhm.
nominated, like keep
Hmm.
getting long listed. I've kind of lost, and I don't need the Giller long list anymore. I know what's going on in the Canadian literary world, and I know what books I want to read and how I can find them and stuff like this. However, I do like a checklist.
Mhm.
So what I've instead of the Giller this year, I'm going to read the Carol Shields Prize long list, right?
Yes. Yay.
Rebecca's
I'm so
given me a thumbs
excited.
up. I know I am excited too because I've been like full on into this. This will be its third year coming up.
Mhm.
2025 will be the third year, and I love this. So just a quick, it's the Carol Shields Prize. Celebrates creativity and excellence in fiction by women and non-binary writers in Canada and the US. I been full like I supported this right from the beginning. I love this whole idea. I've read a couple of the books in the first year. I have their list for this past year down like that I want to go through, and every time I find the list super exciting. Like there are
Mhm.
books that I've already this past year I think I'd already read half of them. So like the books that I want to read, this Carol Shields Prize, their jury are getting the books that I want to read. So I'm like, forget the Giller because I'm going to read whatever Canadian books I want to read anyways. But this one's going to be high. Carol Shields, I find, is highlighting writers that I may not find. And I am super excited to see what 2025 holds for the Carol Shields Prize. That's my awards goal for the year.
I love this goal for you.
Yeah.
I think that is exciting because you've talked about it, on a number of
Yeah.
occasions. You've talked about the award and everything, and authors and books from that list. So I'm really excited that you're going to do this.
Yeah.
So I
Me too.
can't wait to watch this process. So when does it, you might have already said this
Uh,
and I'm blanking now already,
yes.
but
The
when does the list come out?
long list comes out in March, so March 6th. And
Okay.
I think they did the short list is in April.
Okay.
And then the winner is announced in May.
Okay.
And I kind of like this actually a little better than the Giller was like September, October, November kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like starting off for a reading goal to start off with a long list in March
Mhm.
sets me up for the year too, right?
Mhm.
Like it's so I
Yeah.
kind of like the timing better as well.
Yeah, I agree. That is really good. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait.
Yeah.
So I'll have to look at that a little bit closer, which I haven't before, but
Yeah.
wow.
And I recommend like go to their website. I think if you just put in Carol Shields Prize, you'll get to their website. It is the Canadian and US, well, both writers from both countries well represented. The jury is also split so that they have Canadian and American on the jury, and it's all women and non-binary,
Yeah. Yeah. This
right?
is great. Mhm.
Yeah. So I'm
Love it.
excited. They've had great books in the past, so
Yeah.
bring it on.
And it's new. It's a new thing. You wanna promote it and
New.
be excited about it, and yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Now, what about your other past goals? Are you gonna continue to carry on your other
Oh,
goals?
yes. Am I going to continue with, want me to go through them all?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
This
go
is
ahead.
just okay. Yeah, sorry. This is just the most exciting one because it's the newest one.
Yeah.
I'm going to ongoing will be the Helen Humphreys, and maybe I can actually get through the Helen Humphreys catalog this year. If I read 5 and 24, I feel like I can maybe get through the rest. I think she has like 13, maybe more, but
Okay.
I don't know. I'm going to do my best to get it through it this year.
Yeah.
So that's going to be ongoing. My Agatha Christie, that's ongoing. That's going to be the rest of my life, people.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to
Yeah.
be hopefully 75 and being like, and I finally read Miss Marple. I Who knows? That's my bucket list. People have way more exciting bucket lists, but there's my bucket list
I
reading.
love that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the ongoing one, which I didn't mention for 2024, but it's to whittle my physical TBR. I did. I don't think I added to it this year. Like I read as many off my shelf as I added to my shelf, but it doesn't. It's not down to the number I wanted. I would love it down to like 10 books, so that when I purchase books, I know that those are the books I'm going to be reading within the next couple of months rather
Mhm.
than 2 years from now. Right? I
Yeah.
would just like to stay on top of that. And finally, this is actually a new one. In 2024, I did introduce more short stories into my reading life, and I want to continue building on that, like working them
Nice.
in more regularly.
Yeah.
One goal with a good checklist that I can go check check, because I do what people I write down a physical list in my journal. I put a little circle beside each title and I color it in depending on whether I read it or didn't read it. It's color coded, it's silly, and I love it. Everything else is just like a quality kind of. Although I guess the Helen Humphreys, I also and Agatha Christie, I get to color those in as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, there we go.
I love your
Yeah,
plan for 2025. That's all awesome.
thank
And
you.
I like that you have that thing about the checklist and coloring it in or whatever, the circles. I mean, all of those things just enhance what we do. Otherwise, we'd
Hmm.
just be plowing through books, and
Yeah,
I love the idea that we all have, our TBR might be big or small, or we're a mood reader, or we like to, write it all down, or put it in a spreadsheet. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like we all have our ways of managing it, and that's part of the fun of it all, right?
it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. I think that's why it makes it like I love reading, obviously, but it also makes it part of my lifestyle. Like I get so much more out of it than just the reading. Like
Mhm.
it's the sharing of it here with Rebecca, sharing it with you all, writing it down. Like I love taking time once a week or so to sit down with my journal and write it all in, write down quotes, write down how I felt about a book, even putting like a DNF on a book. I'm like, I just, it's just part of it. I enjoy it.
That reminded me of something when you said that. Okay, so interestingly, my 2025, they're kind of simple in a way. But I wanted them to be simple because I will say that this year, at the beginning of the year, I was really struggling because we get a lot of books through River Street Writing. Anyway, I think that's the formal name. We'll put it obviously in the show notes. But we get a lot of ARCs, and I had ordered a bunch, and honestly, they have all been great books. So, like a lot of the stuff that was on my fiction top 10 list this year, I think the 4 Canadian titles all came through ARCs, which I loved. And those were authors I would have never discovered had I not been going through this process through River Street Writes with Holly. But also, I am a mood reader, and I was not really able to do my mood reading because I had all these books I needed to read, and I was getting really hung up on it. So I will say happily, I got through all of my ARCs this year. I'm very thrilled. I know. Well, I actually kind of started to cut them down a little bit because and stopped requesting so many because I was getting too many to where I couldn't do my mood reading thing, right? So then also I have this standard goal, like your Agatha Christie. My standard goal is if I buy a book I give myself 1 year to read the book or it's got to go. Because if I haven't picked it up, it's because I've lost interest. Again, mood reading, it's easy to lose interest. I completed all of my books this year. I'm so excited. My shelf was completely not cleared off in the sense of I got rid of them, but I'm keeping the books that I really love. And then I'm going to build a little free library for myself in the spring. And so I've been saving all the books that I like, but that I don't want to keep. And those will go into my little free library. So I'm really excited about that. And I also want to buy less books because I love this idea of at the end of the year, I feel like, woohoo, like it's all fresh and clean and everything's done, right? So here are my goals for 2025. I have 3 series of books that bought like a few years ago, and I still have not finished them. So I'm going to complete Anne of Green Gables this year. I've read the first 2, but I don't want to have so much time go in between them. I want to just sort of read them all close together and just love Anne.
Yeah.
I still have not finished Narnia. I think I've read the first 2, but again, I should just read them. And they're not that many and they're short. So I should be able to do it. And then my Redwall series, there are 22 in the series. I've read 2 and I'm not even going to put a number on it. It's just, I want to read some Redwall this year, but I do want to complete Anne of Green Gables and Narnia. And then because I had so much fun reading 12 classic women authors, I was talking to a friend and I realized that there are children's books that I've never read that are kind of classics. And I thought, I want to read, and I kind of put this in quotation sort of, I want to read about mischievous, clever, independent girls. And so some of the titles that I've already thought about, and again, my list can change, but like Pippi Longstocking, I've never read that.
I love Pippi.
I never read it. See? I never read it. Yeah. And Ramona, I've never read any of the Ramona books. I know. But I don't even know how, when they were written, like if I don't know that I would have been the right age when they were written. Maybe I was, and I just didn't read them. I don't know. And then there were a couple others that had been mentioned to me. So if you have any recommendations for mischievous, clever, independent girls, children's children's book, they're mostly going to be that sort of juvenile title, like 4th through 6th grade kind of reading. I just want to read these classic girls that were feisty and that we all grew up loving that I missed out on. So that's kind of my goal. And then those are my 2 goals. I then have, while you were talking, I thought to myself, as much fun as I've had reading at the end of this year, which I did, I just had a wild ride of
Hmm.
December, which I'll talk about this year in upcoming podcast. I think somehow I'm going to track my mood reads. And these will be books that I just find that I don't own or that I haven't necessarily, I mean, they could be on my TBR, but that I serendipitously find them at my public library. And maybe I'll just mark those as my mood reads to see how many mood reads I fit into my year. Kind of made me think of that, right?
Yeah.
And then I have a secret goal that I'm not going to tell you what it is, and you will have to wait for it.
Oh,
I know.
okay.
You will love it. But
Okay.
it's a secret goal.
Okay. So I have thoughts.
Okay.
One, I love an empty bookshelf, and that is my goal eventually,
Mhm.
to like end the year with an empty bookshelf, except for like maybe whatever couple books I got for Christmas. So
Yeah.
kudos on you. I love that. 2, this children, children's girls books. I can't
Mhm.
think of how you worded it because it was perfect. That's a perfect Rebecca goal. I
Mhm.
love that.
Mhm.
I'm going to add Harriet the Spy. Check out Harriet the Spy.
I knew, okay, I couldn't remember. I
Yes.
knew there was something that you loved so much, but I couldn't remember. I'm adding
Yeah.
Harriet the Spy. Yep.
Harriet the Spy and Pippi. I think I have an old Pippi down that I bought like used recently that I was like, I have to reread Pippi. So I cannot wait to follow along on this
Yay.
goal. And 3, a secret goal. When do we find out? Said secret goal.
I don't know.
No.
And I know it's painful to have a secret goal because you're going to
It,
sit there and go, what the hell is the goal? But I really think you will. I want it to be a fun goal where you have a great laugh when you
okay.
discover and I will divulge it on a podcast. I will never tell you about it offline,
Okay.
but that you will be able to participate in it in the moment, and you will have the best laugh, your best book laugh of the year.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
At
So
first, I
I'm not
was
going to,
annoyed that
yeah,
I'm like, why is she not telling me?
I know.
I was like, well, I have a secret goal too, Rebecca.
And I will say this, that if it becomes too much, because my goal was to mention that I have a secret goal, and then I will not speak of it again until it's time. And then that way it won't be, sort of niggling in your brain where
Mhm.
you're like, what is it? What is it? But if it does become a hassle, you tell me, and then I'll divulge the
No,
goal.
I'm now over like being
Okay.
pissy about it. And I'm just excited. Now I'm
Yeah.
like excited because I'm like, oh, now what is it? And when is it going to happen?
Yeah.
So now, no, no, no. I'm in. I'm in. I'm
Okay.
in for the
Cool.
secret goal.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm super excited for this next year of reading
Me too.
and to like many more bookish conversations with you.
Yes, definitely. And all of
Yeah.
you thank you for joining us and watching our YouTube lives, which we'll get back to in January. And everything that we do, this community, we just love it, and we have so much fun with it. And it's something I look forward to, and I know you do as well.
Yeah. I really do. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year and happy reading. Thank you for joining us on our bookish journey. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing Canada Reads American Style wherever you listen. You can connect with the podcast and Rebecca on Instagram at Canada Reads American Style and with Tara at On a Branch Reads. Until next time, keep reading.